Hi, thank you so much for subscribing to Battle with Ola. This is Mujola Oluwa, and I just quickly want to show you or act out how to move in terms. Moving in terms is not a stranger on this channel. It's not a strange topic. It's something I've talked about or mentioned in most of the videos that I did on motions, and I've done a handful of videos on motions. Please watch them. To get these videos easily, just type in the search bar on YouTube Battle with Ola motion or Battle with Ola motions. Battle with Ola motions and counter feed the feet. So today we want to move in terms because I saw a comment that spurred me to make this video in case someone was wondering what it meant or why we move in terms. In a Nigerian court, you are supposed to move your motion freely, but sometimes the court may permit you to move in terms. You can do this yourself or the court may ask you to do it, but whichever way, this is how to move in terms. You inform the court of the motion that you have before it by stating the date on the motion paper and the date it was filed, and then the court will ask the other counsel, the opposing party, what their reaction is to your motion. If they say they are not opposing, then you can move in terms, or the court may ask you to move in terms. Then you say, "My lord, we humbly apply to move in terms of the motion paper. We are most obliged." Or, "My lord, this application being an in-course application and learned counsel on the other side not being opposed to it, we hereby apply to move same in terms of the motion paper. We're most grateful, my lord." And that's how to move in terms. It is very, very simple. What does this mean? It means that you will not have to read your prayers before the court, tell the court that you have a supporting affidavit or the paragraphs you're relying on in the affidavit and all that other stuff. And this is because the court, you want to save the time of the court, or the court wants to save time. And usually, because as I have seen so far in practice, because the judge trusts you to an extent. So as some judges will insist that counsel should move the full motion because they do not trust that what is before them is what the counsel is moving. And I think I've heard lawyers talk about it, that there are other lawyers who have done this in time past, file a motion before the court and they move a different one in terms because they were allowed to move in terms. So the court granted what they brought, not knowing it was different from what they filed. Now this is how it works. In Nigeria, when you have a motion, that's a prayer before the court. You file it at the registry. Then they put a copy in the court's file. That's the judge's file, the one that will be before the judge. So it is assumed, or it is the practice, that the judge would have gone through his file before the hearing date. So he already knows what your motion is and what you're asking for. So by the time you come to court and you want to move your motion, the judge is encountering that motion for the second time, or maybe the third or fourth time, but certainly not for the first time. So he already knows what is in your motion, and it is assumed that what you have is what he also has. So if he says move in terms, it means that I've gone through the motion paper, I understand what you want to ask me, go ahead, just summarize so that I can grant it or so that I can deny it. And in most cases, when you have to move in terms, the court will grant it because it's a very simple, non-contentious, application before the court. So after you've done this, the other counsel will stand up and say no objection, and then the court would put down some notes and then say that order has prayed, granted, or order has prayed, I've granted it, or order has prayed, we've granted it, depending on what court you are before. So this is how to move in terms. Very simple. But make sure that the court you're in is a court that allows lawyers to move in terms. Because I've seen situations whereby some lawyers try to move in terms and the court will tell them, my friend, move in full. How old are you at the bar? What do you mean? So if you're a younger lawyer, or if you're not familiar with the court or with the judge now, make sure you move fully, and you would find instances of how to move fully in the videos that we've done on moving motions. But if you want to move in terms, this is how to move in terms. I will see you in my very next video. Don't forget to subscribe to those.